evening. How are you doing? My name is Joseph Ngugi. I am one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind. Welcome to another episode of the Pre-PT Grind Chat Live, where once a week, Casey and I join forces and come live into this group to talk to you about some things that are going to be very important for you to understand as pre-PTs if you want to have a shot this year at getting accepted into physical therapy school. Kyle Rice, how you doing, brother? Man, it's always an honor to be in this group, to take care of you and serve you. And tonight's topic is no exception. Casey's about to join me on here, and then we'll get started. Let's see. Good to see you, Taro. How are you doing? I hope you guys are having a great evening. Casey, how you doing, brother?
Did I beat Shanahan?
Yeah, I have not seen Shanahan.
Hey.
Well, it's the first time. It's the first time,
there we
man.
Go.
When he hops on here, we gotta let him know. You were ready. You were like, oh shoot, I'm gonna get there before Shanahan, man.
I was ready.
For those of y'all that don't know, Shanahan is a pre-PT winner who's usually either the first or second on every one of these live streams. And so Casey's been trying to beat him onto his own live stream for like the last 3
Crazy.
months. And so finally he won. Megan, how are you doing? Sean, good to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Casey, we have a very good conversation to have tonight, man. A very, very important one. And it's one that because Casey and I had a chance to chat earlier today, and we were just, talking about how, as physical therapists, our viewpoint on a lot of different things has changed, because it's no longer us as the ones going through the journey. It's us now looking back and saying, like, what are things that we missed or maybe did not understand or notice, and how can we relay that to you, so that you have everything in your tool belt, so that this year, really, the way we started out 2019 was just saying that we're going to make this the no excuse year, making sure that everything we do this year is to make sure that there are no excuses to not get accepted. Don't give the PT programs a chance to say no, but it's going to require understanding a few things. And that's why tonight we're coming in here fired up to talk about a good topic. And we have Claire joining us as well. If you're watching this live or on replay and you're like, okay, I can already tell that this is a stream that I know somebody else will need, go find them, tag them in here, make sure that they see this. Every single Thursday night when we're on here, like tag people that you think would value it. This is not like peers that you're trying to compete with. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that at all. I remember, Case, do you remember when we started PT school, man, and how competitive everybody was before starting, before getting accepted? The first thing, so my class was a little bit ahead of Casey's. The first thing that we told Casey's class, we're like, yo, all that competitiveness is great. It's what got you here, which is a good thing. But you may have to you will have to, kind of set it aside if you guys want to get out of this program alive. In other words, they had to learn to work together. I mean, really, like they had to learn to work together and no longer compete against each other in order to do that. And so that's what this community is like. So if you're watching this live right now, if you're watching this on a replay, if you're listening to this as a podcast episode, find somebody that needs to listen to this. This is not about, oh, I got to, soak up all the hacks so that I can get, no. This is about making sure that all of us in this group right now that are applying this year in 2019 have the best shot possible at getting in. It's that simple. And to do that, we want to reach as many as possible. And so just tag somebody, show them some love. And then if you're live, let me know that you're live. Say your team live. If you're on replay, let me know your team replay so we can shout you out and make sure that we acknowledge you. But thank you so much for joining us. Casey, are you ready for tonight, man?
I'm ready. Let's go. Let's drop some fire.
Yo, let's do it. So tonight's topic is real talk. Real talk. Who will determine whether or not you will become a DPT? You or the PT programs? Only one person can choose. So real talk. And honestly, I know like the topic may seem a little confusing before. Let's see. Oh man, kill it, Sarah. Shoot.
Good luck.
Yo,
Good luck.
Sarah, I'm telling you, that first year is something. Sarah is another a former pre-PT winner. She's in PT school right now in her first year, absolutely killing her prep for her Kines exam. And so really, this topic might seem a little confusing at first, but we're gonna break it down. And at the end, we're even considering creating a cheat sheet for you, just so you have this accessible to you outside of the video format. So as we're going through it, and if you're like, yo, I want a copy of this, I want a cheat sheet version of this, just comment cheat sheet, and we'll make sure that after this live stream, within 2 hours of this live stream finishing, you will have access to a cheat sheet that has been made. We haven't even made it yet, but we will make it for you to make sure that you have everything you need from this live stream to actually apply it and destroy it. So Casey, who will ultimately determine whether or not you will become a DPT, you or the PT program? Before we get into the main keys, there's three main keys we're going to share tonight, Casey. Why is this conversation important? Like, why is it important to understand this bit? And what has not understanding done for pre-PTs who have applied before, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times?
Yeah, I mean, it's really giving control to the wrong people. That's the first thing that really comes to mind. It's your money, it's your life, it's your career, it's your future. But sometimes we go into this application knowing or not that we're giving the control or we're giving the power to the other party or the other person, when really it's us that need to be in control, because it's ultimately us in our life and our test grades and our GRE scores. It's our license, it's our MPT score that's on that line. It's your signature. It's not the school. Like when I signed all my notes today, when I did all my evals, it says Casey Coleman, DPT, PT, whatever, and it has my license number. It does not have Andrews University. It will not have Duke. It will not have Rosalind. The Medicare does not give a crap.
Uh-huh.
Blue Cross Blue Shield does not care.
Nope.
So it's your life, it's your career. So I need a lot of you to understand that, to just think of that mind shift, that it's really you that needs to be in control with this whole application process, with this whole mindset. Do not give that control over to the schools. Yes, they are important. I wouldn't know what I was doing today if it wasn't for Andrews University. So not knocking schools at all, but for this application process, you need to understand that you primarily need to be in control of your own future. So that's the big thing.
Exactly. And before we jump in tonight, I actually spoke with two pre-PTs today, and one yesterday, and the common theme was they just felt like they had, kind of given it their best shot with the last application cycle, and things just did not go as planned. And so the biggest thing that we're even looking for, I don't even think we realize that we need it, Casey, or we're searching for it, is that control. And you want to feel like you're in control of everything. If you're an athlete, you want to feel like you're in control of your game. You don't just want to say, "Hey, just put me out there to play basketball, coach," and you just, just start, chucking up shots. Soccer, same thing. It doesn't matter what sport it is, but with this pre-PT process, you want control. You want control. So if you're watching right now, live replay, if you're ready to dive into these three key steps that we're gonna just share with you tonight, just put them all out on the table. Just comment control. Comment control, because that's what you're claiming that you want in this process. You're claiming that you're ready to now assume control of your pre-PT journey, because that's the only way we get accepted into PT school. It's the only way. So if you're saying, all right, I'm ready to assume control, Joseph. I'm ready to assume control, Casey. Just show me how. Show me what I need to do right now, what actions I can take right now to start assuming that. I'm ready for that. Just comment control. That's it. That's it. Because right now, what we're going to do is just share with you three key steps that we're like, yo, these are like, we were just assessing this last year. We were just like, Casey, we were just sitting there and just saying, all right, like, one, there's pre-PTs that we've kind of seen throughout 2018 and just kind of what they were doing. There's ones that got accepted that we've, kind of seen through their whole journey. There's others that did not get accepted, right? So now it's like, what was the difference? What was the difference? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like after you finish, a semester of class, like you don't get surprised that you get a C in the class. Like, it's not like, oh, man, come on, teacher. I thought I had a 98. How'd I get a 72? Like, you're never surprised by that. You see it coming. But for us, it was more like we were like the professor who was now looking and saying, okay, let's look at their quizzes. Let's look at their assignments. Let's look at, oh, so that's why these students are passing. And that's why these students are not. And this is what we're about to share with you. Is that okay? Is that okay? So if you're ready for that, just comment control. Just comment control. Thank you, Lizzie. Just comment control, and we'll get started. So Casey, the number one thing, man, the number one thing that a lot of us as pre-PTs really need in order to take charge this year is understand blame. Is understand blame because we don't do it externally, but there's always someone to blame. Casey, I was talking to a pre-PT last week, man, and the biggest thing was like Joseph, like I want to get in, but GRE, my GRE score, I've taken it 3 times, and it's not matching up with the schools that I'm trying to apply for. So I'm blaming my GRE, my GPA. That's a big one. I mean, we brought in Ben Kim. Y'all heard about his story with a 2.4 GPA. My GPA, Joseph, my GPA, Casey, it's my kryptonite. That's what's holding me back from getting accepted into PT school. You know what? I just don't feel confident. I don't feel confident. I have these thoughts, and they're not being supported by what I'm hearing in my family. Some of those negative thoughts are actually being like heightened. It's almost like fuel or whatever being thrown into the fire. That's being accelerated by what I'm hearing from my family members. It's being accelerated by what I'm hearing from my teachers. People telling me, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be a PT. Maybe you should have picked something else. Maybe this is not your calling. You know what? Maybe this is God telling you something. And so what ends up happening is now we say, well, I can't really control it anymore. So I don't know what to do. So let me just look at what I'm struggling at and just attach my blame to that. Yeah, you know what? It's my GRE. That's why I'm having a hard time getting into PT school. So let me attach my blame to that, Casey. It's my GRE, man. It's my GRE. I'm telling you, Casey, it's my GRE. Like I've tried so hard. I've put in so much effort. This is my 4th time taking it. I'm exhausted. I don't want to sit in there for that many hours again. I don't want to spend this amount of money. So I don't know. I don't know. And when I apply to, I don't know. I can't even muster up the confidence. The like all these negative thoughts are actually like throwing me off. Like I can't even walk into an interview properly because I don't feel like I deserve it. I don't feel like I can like all these things are real. But the number one thing that's going to be important, this is what we've told our accepted system students, is you have to detach yourself from the negative aspect of every one of those things. Instead of saying like, yo, it's my G, like, you have to say, I am not that GPA. I'm not. I'm saying that because really, once I claim that, that starts to shift my perspective about what it is that I'm engaging in. If I feel like the GPA is my kryptonite, well, I'm going to associate it with my shot at getting in, which means I embody the failure of not being able to raise my GPA. So that even weighs on me heavier. So I have to remove that from myself and say, I'm not my GPA. I'm not. And I also have to take confidence in the fact that other students have gotten in with low GPAs. So you know what? Maybe the one thing that I thought was my heaviest, like my weight that was holding me back from getting accepted. If it's allowing other students to get in still, then maybe I still do have to take that off first and figure out what they did to actually still lock into a PT program. My GRE, I'm not my GRE. Can I accept that? I am not like even the negative thoughts, like all of these different things, like whatever it is that's holding you back, whatever it is that you have like poured blame into, that has to become something that you detach yourself from. if you want to have a shot at now going into an application cycle where you're like, okay, let's do this, because tonight is all about control. All about control. Casey, what are your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, I think we have to end the blame game so we can win the bigger game. I did a live stream a couple days ago. I don't remember when, but I was talking about how beliefs turn into behaviors, behaviors, actions, then the actions turn into your
Shanahan is
outcomes.
live.
Hey, I
Shanahan
beat
showed
you.
up.
There we go. There we
Shanahan,
go.
Casey beat you, bro.
I
Casey
beat him.
beat you, Shanahan.
But yeah, and it's the same thing here. If you end up instilling these beliefs of blame into yourself, it's just going to
Yeah.
run into your outcomes. And another point is that I think that a lot of times when pre-PTs are blaming themselves, they think there's going to be a Prince Charming in this story. They think somebody's going to sweep them up their feet and say, it doesn't
Wow.
matter if I have a low GPA, some school is going to take me, or some GRE, I'm just going to magically get a better GRE score. Somebody's going to whisk me off to PT land and I'll magically
Wow.
become a physical therapist. There is no Prince Charming in this story. You have to make the decision to save yourself. If you have to make the decision to get help, to get mentors, be in one of our group, listen to our podcast, hunker down and get your crap together, get your GPA better, get those observations, whatever it is, you have to realize nobody's coming to save you. There's no Prince Charming in this story. It's all you. And if you need help, you have to make the decision to save yourself and get it. So I think a lot of times we get so down on ourselves that we just come to a point like, man, I don't know, it might just happen for me. Somebody come whisk me off my feet and I'll get accepted somehow. That's why we applied to these 15, 20, 25 schools, because we have this mentality that someone is going to save us. Some school
Wow.
is just going to take us and whisk us away to physical therapy land and give us a license. So that's just another point. And the last one on this is, I've talked about it before, is forgiving yourself. Stop blaming. Don't blame the outside
Mm.
world, and stop
That's
blaming
true.
yourself as well. So all the bad test grades, all the negative self-talk, stop blaming yourself as well. So big
Mm.
three things. There's no Prince Charming. Stop blaming yourself. And I don't know what else I said. I had another point in there, but you guys remember it. But those are the biggest things with this point for me.
Exactly. And Sharon says things to give up in 2019, negative self-talk. Oh, man. Doubting
Mm-hmm.
yourself, fear of failure. I couldn't agree more, my friend. And Shanahan, yeah, you got to let Casey win every now and then, man.
Hey.
So, but 100% what Casey just said. So number one, we have to stop the blame game. And like we were saying tonight, we're gonna create a cheat sheet after that, after this live stream is done. So if you want access to a cheat sheet, something you can look at, print out, put on your phone, look at every single day with these points just kind of broken down for you. Just comment cheat sheet. Comment cheat sheet, whether you're live, on replay, as we're going through this at any point, just comment cheat sheet and we'll make sure you're taken care of afterwards. Number two, Casey, because we're talking about 3 steps to getting in charge, to taking charge of your pre-PT acceptance. Number two is speed. So the first one was stop the blame game. Number two is speed. How fast or slow you go is up to you. How fast or slow you go is up to you. Casey, what does that even mean? Like, because, like, what do you mean how fast or slow I go is up to me? Are you talking about like how fast, or slow I go in terms of like applying, how fast I apply, how quick, like, what are we talking about here? Like, how fast or slow is up to you? Talk to us, bro.
Yeah, I'll just put a blanket over this one, then let you dive deeper into it. But it's really simple. Think of a train running down the tracks. Are you going to hop on the train, or are you going to try and pull the whole train itself? Are you going to ride the wave, or are you going to swim against the current? Are you going to catch the draft? You know how those bikers do in, was it Tour de France, and they're, hunkered down,
Just
behind the bike, and they're just
yeah,
catching the speed of the others? Are you going to do that
yeah.
for your pre-PT journey, or are you going to be
Mercy,
that person just lagging behind the group, just huffing and puffing and pedaling away like,
mercy.
why am I not making
Yeah,
any progress? Why is everybody
yeah,
else getting accepted? Why this?
yeah.
Why me? When the whole pack is together, drifting off each other. They're all pulling each other with that same train. They're all
Yep,
riding that same wave, and that's how they get there faster. That's how they
yep,
have more fun with it. That's how they get to their destination. That's how they pull
yep.
each other along. And
Yeah,
and, and if you're not doing that, you're just going to be that person huffing and puffing at the back of the line, or huffing and puffing,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it, trying to get there at that last person at the marathon. Yes, you might cross the line eventually, but do you want to be the last person? Probably not. So that's really all this is. How fast do you want to go? How slow do you want to go? It all depends on your decision, on who you want to be around to get you there faster.
Exactly. And the thing is, like to even dive even deeper into that, it's like the like speed of me having a shot at getting in. So I think sometimes we don't think about that. We think about acceptance as like, when's the next cycle opening up? Let me just, you know what? I finished my bachelor's or I finished my degree. Let me just wait until that opens and I'll just do what everybody else is doing. And so what normally happens is people are waiting till the last possible second and then just kind of going for it. But the honest truth is most students are applying blind. They're applying blind. And so what's happening is really like if you're applying blind, then really what you're doing is like literally waiting, applying, and saying, shoot, like I don't really know what I just did. Sometimes it's not even selecting the right school. Sometimes it's not knowing like how to navigate the whole. Okay, like if you're applying blind, then really honestly, it's never really a surprise on the back end as to why you didn't get in. And that's what has happened so many times with people that are actually PT school like status. Like they have PT school level qualifications if they just applied to the right programs and understood the right things to do before getting in. Right now it's January, as we're recording this, it's January of 2019. The application cycle is not opening until this summer. So how fast or slow is up to you. And here's the one thing that Casey and I have learned ourselves because we are newer physical therapists. Like I graduated in 2017, Casey graduated in 2018, and the things that we've been able to accomplish have been because of this. Speed is associated with who you have with you. This whole process is very slow if you're doing it by yourself. Understand that point. If you have to write it down, fantastic. Jakari, Carl, how y'all doing? But speed is associated with who you have with you. By yourself, it's a very slow process. And by slow, I mean that's when you're finding yourself applying multiple times. That's when you're finding yourself absolutely confused with every cycle. That's when you have no idea what you're doing. So you're just kind of riding whatever you're seeing from posts from other students. If they're applying, you're like, shoot, maybe I should be applying. You know, September hits and you didn't even know PT Cast opened up earlier on in the year. And it's like, okay, cool. But with other people, what you have the opportunity to do is learn from their journeys. What you have the opportunity to do is find someone who actually understands how to get there. They can actually fast track you to where you're going to go. For Casey and myself, right now, at this point in our careers, technically, all we should be is just staff PT because we're new. We're less than 2 years out of PT school. We should only be staff PT. But what happened for us is while we were in PT school, we realized that this whole speed game is associated with who you have with you. And so we put ourselves in a community of people that allowed us to just learn things faster, learn how online marketing happens, learn how to influence online, learn how to take all of our values and ideas and concepts that we were doing at the time, which was serving free PTs, and take them online. Learn how to lead, learn how to take care of a group of people. That's how I became a clinic director of a private practice clinic, and I'm opening up a new one like within really that all started 8 months out of PT school. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. But those things are fast tracked when you have the right people around you, when you have the right people accompanying you on your journey. So maybe you're not doing it alone, but maybe you have the wrong people. Maybe the wrong people are your, sorry, not even maybe. Most of the times, the wrong people are the people you have in your academic situation. I'm talking about faculty members. I'm talking about advisors. I'm talking about people that are trying to tell you, hey, try this, try that, having probably never applied to PT school before, not really understanding that there's a new way of getting in. And we're about to dive into that on the third step. This is just number two. But really, you're taking advice from people that won't be there to feel the pain when you're rejected. People that won't be there to feel the pain when you get rejected from PT school. people that won't be there to understand what to do next when you fail or don't pass your GRE. And it's not because you weren't capable of it. It's just you didn't know like what the right things were. You didn't know what had worked and what hadn't worked. In fact, here's a scenario that someone posted to me some time back. They said, Joseph, if if there's a car, if there's a car and you see somebody standing in the middle of the road, now you know what? Let's say a bike because a car just sounds crazy. If there's a bike and you see someone like walking in the sidewalk and somebody hits them with their bike, and you see there's like a now there's like an army of bikes coming. Well, one, you're probably going to help that guy out. But two, are you going to do the same thing? Well, no, no. To be honest with you, like I know that it's probably not good to say, but I would rather watch and say, oh wow, no, 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 I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to help the guy out. I'm going to make sure he's not too injured, but I'm not going to go and stand in the same spot and expect like something different to happen. Clearly, there's an army of bikes showing up, right? And so it's the same thing with this process. We have to start learning from people that understand what it is that's coming your way. And that alone speeds up your chances of getting into PT school. When Ariana and I were talking about she did a live stream here before. When Ariana and I were talking about her journey and really like her going through the process of being rejected 2 cycles in a row, and her coming to the point where she was like, honestly, I can't go through that again. I really can't go through the level of pain that I went through after the second time, especially because she had worked her behind off after the second time. Like, first time she was like, okay, maybe I didn't work hard enough. She like went all in for her second one as far as she knew. As far as she knew what to do, she literally did everything in the book, which is what threw her off when she got rejected the second time. And so that's when we had the opportunity to talk, and she was telling me her story. And really, like, she wanted to go back at it again, but the fear was, will I just get the same result again? Will I just get the same result again? But she also understood that she couldn't play it alone anymore because that was the one consistency with her previous 2 cycles. She was playing the game on her own. She was no longer really able to, like, have her family, rock with her because a lot of them really wanted her to just find something else. They didn't want her to go through that pain again, which is understandable, but she wanted physical therapy. So she realized to go fast, she needed a community. That community for her was the acceptance system. That community for her was Carl Bourne Jr. That community for her was Casey Coleman, myself, Sarah, all the people that were willing to hunker down with her and help her figure out step by step what she needed to do to get in. But as pre-PTs, we have to understand that there's a slow way and there's always a fast way. There's a slow way and there's a fast way. There's not two. There's really not a gray in between. Justin, there is not a gray in between. And understanding that is very key right now. Because I think sometimes what we fail to remember is what it looks like on the other side. Like, y'all, listen, if you've never been rejected from PT school, like, let Casey even tell you right now, this is not something where you just want to do trial and error. If you're in this thing and you're like, because, bro, Casey, yo, I remember, like, with the GRE, like, with some of my classmates, they were like, yo, man, let me just go take it one time. I'll see how it is. You know what I'm saying? Lives want to see how it is. And then, after that, based on what my weaknesses are, I'll study and do it again. Like, maybe it's just me, but I would much rather take it one time and be done with it if I can help myself.
Mm-hmm.
Applying to PT school, I would much rather apply one time. Casey, you realize how much money we spend on applications? If I apply to 15 schools, you got like the initial like 150, and then like for each school, it's like an additional cost. I mean, you're talking like if you're doing with with like PT cast.
Another
Schools
50.
aren't cheap. Say what?
Mm-hmm. Another 50 for each school.
Yeah, another 50 for each school. So really at that point, like, what are you setting yourself up for? What's that, like $850 right there to apply to 15 schools? Is that what that is? If I'm doing my
Something
math
like
right?
that. I did a video in, I don't know, a couple months back. Just type it in. The title is How PT Cast is Getting Rich Off of Your Mistakes. So type that in the
Exactly.
search bar. It's in the group. It's on YouTube, and just watch it because they are getting rich off your mistakes. It's serious.
Exactly. And I think we have to sometimes talk about it point blank because I think when we're applying, especially when it's our first time, when we haven't felt the pain yet, when you haven't felt that like the pit of being like, yo, shoot, like I didn't get in. Like you have to sometimes like see what's on the other side. Because if you're applying and shooting in the dark, it's like, well, okay, so I just spent $850. If I'm doing 20 schools, well, shoot, I'm clearing like $1,000 easy. And now I'm okay, so I'm applying that. I just lost $1,000 for the sake of it. Hold up though. Hold up though. That's 1 year that I wouldn't be a like that's 1 year extra that I'm not a PT now, right? So I would have gone into a 3 year program and been a PT had I just done it right that first time. But now because I have an extra year, what have I lost? My first salary in PT, like as a physical therapist. So what's that? Anywhere between $70,000 to $85,000 plus the $1,000 that you just spent on PT cast. So let's say it's $86,000. You know what I mean? So now, like, what you're guessing is not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And if you want to, if you like, it's only two ways. It's not. This is no longer like a hey, let's try this. No, 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 no. There's only a fast way and a slow way, and the fast way is also the clear way. The slow way is the slow way because it's like the whole trial and error. It's like me standing in front of the bikes and saying, oh, let me see if I get hit. Oh crap, maybe I won't do that again. But the fast way is saying like, who else has stood in front of bikes? What happened? Oh, he got hit. Oh, he got injured. Oh, I ain't doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. Oh, he applied to the wrong schools. Oh, he just applied to all the 10 schools around his community, within like an hour and just kind of said, let's see what happens. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Oh, with the GRE, he struggled with this, and this. Oh, okay, maybe I'll do it a little different. You have to pick. It's your choice. You have to pick. Do I want to do this the fast way or the slow way? But the reason why we have to say this is because when you come out on the other side, you have to be able to reflect and say, like, what did I choose? What did I choose? Darnett is right here. So Darnett chose the fast way. In fact, she realized I got a lot of things on the table. She has her family. She has a kid. She has like her business. She has a lot of different things on the line. So maybe her reasons for getting into PT school might be stronger than yours if you're picking the slow way. Or maybe you just didn't know that there was a slow way and a fast way. But understand that speed is key. If we're going into 2019 to destroy it, we're not going to do this with a bunch of hype talk. We're going to do this by talking real. Speed is key. And then number 3, Casey, is success predictors for pre-PTs are in fact changing. Success predictors for pre-PTs are not might be, not kind of, are in fact changing. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Like what does that mean, Casey? Because I think it's important for us as pre-PTs tonight to understand that. If we can start understanding that, then maybe how we're looking at this whole pre-PT journey might change a little bit, man. Casey, what does that mean? That success predictors. What predicts our chances of even getting into PT school? What predicts our chance of even being a successful physical therapist afterwards? Like those predictors are changing. Talk to us about that, brother.
Yeah, so PT schools are really realizing that, okay, a GPA might be good for PT school, right? You might get a nice little grade on this test if you have a higher GPA. So this might work for our system in PT school, but you're only in PT school for what? 2, 3 years? Then for the next 30, 25, whatever, how long you're practicing, you're a physical therapist. So your GPA might be cool for PT school, but for the next 20 years, they are realizing that the GPA, the stats, and all this aren't necessarily great predictors for you being a physical therapist for the next 20 years. So they're realizing that they're really producing a homogeneous physical therapy population or a physical therapy professional population for a heterogeneous patient population. They're bumping out cookie cutter robots that have these great stats that are good for PT school, but when you get out into the real world, it doesn't necessarily translate into a heterogeneous or a diverse population that you treat. And I'm not just talking about, high grades or white females because they're the majority of the profession. I'm talking about economic background, being bilingual, going to different countries, traveling, different leadership opportunities. Everything goes into that, robotic cookie cutter thing that they're producing. It's not necessarily just gender or just race. It's a combination of how you think, where you come from, street smarts, book smarts, how you communicate, what you have in your background,
Yes, sir.
observation, this and that, letters of recommendation, who's talking about you. It really goes into that. So that's what they're realizing for the past however many years. They're pumping out these grads, these new grads and everything that have done, good in PT school. That was for them. They realized, okay, we're accepting these students so we can cash in so they don't drop out, and they pay all their tuition. Then boom, they're gone and treating, and they're no longer our problem. But now they're saying, okay, if we really want to make this change, let's look at the patient population. Let's look at who we're really treating and make sure whether it's, different races, different genders, different age groups, different socioeconomic statuses, different places in the country or maybe even the world that we're treating. Let's make sure that we are producing great physical therapists. Let's make sure that we're not just producing, good DPT students that can pay our bills and can pay our teachers and our professors. So that's really what they're realizing. If you need some more information about that, you know where to find us. But they're realizing that it's changing for them, and now you have to know how to adapt and be different and fit that mold that they are now looking for the future of physical therapy in our future population. So that's really it.
Exactly. Before I say what I'm about to say about that as well, like if you're just joining us now, whether live or replay, we're actually going to create a cheat sheet for you on the topics that we're talking about tonight. So if you want access to that cheat sheet, so even after this video disappears or when it's a podcast episode, when that disappears, like just comment cheat sheet so that we can make sure that once the cheat sheet is done, we're tagging you in it so that you have access to it, so that you can absolutely crush it. That's what this year is about, equipping you with the tools and everything that you need to win as a pre-PT this year. And really, like success predictors are shifting. The other thing is we have to talk about is, I don't know if y'all really thought about this, but PT schools are kind of expensive, right? And so PT schools aren't cheap. And if you've never thought about this, well, hello. Just want to point this out. Like, as a physical therapist, you also have to think about the fact that really 15 years ago, PT programs were literally $40,000, $50,000 or less. Like, it was not a crazy huge investment. Now we're having students get out of PT school with $100,000 in debt, $150,000 in debt. There was actually a couple in my PT class who were each at $250,000 in debt. So really, and they're getting married this year. So they're starting off their happy life $500,000 under. So if you're finding yourself doing the bare minimum, okay, cute, you might squeak into a PT program, might, because let's be real, like the whole application process is changing. But even then, are you even giving yourself a shot to make that investment worth it? Because well, honestly, there are a lot of very happy PTs out there, but there's also a lot of very unhappy PTs out there. And a lot of them, it's not because they hate physical therapy. It's not because they hate what they fell into. It's not because they hate patients. It's because there are other things like finances and the stress of loans and how it makes them make certain decisions that's literally led them to, let's see, and that is with the average salary for an American increasing from 52K to 55K. Yeah, man, like, true. So some states are really low, some states are really high. And so if y'all see like $100,000, don't deceive yourself. Those are people that have been in the game for either a long time, or they run places, or they know other things that we're going to share with you in the next few moments. But the honest truth is, it's saying, I'm starting to see that. I see how many loans I'm putting into this. So some of y'all are even thinking about, how expensive your PT programs are and all that stuff. But the honest truth is, I don't care if it's $80,000 for your PT program or $150,000 for your PT program. If you're not already starting to set yourself apart in a way that also gives you the skills to succeed as a physical therapist in this world, then you might be digging yourself into a hole as well. Does that make sense? Like, I think it's okay for us to actually bring that forward now. I know your pre-PTs trying to get into PT school, but if you don't know that, then that might actually like undershoot or blind you from seeing what's actually going on and understanding that there are things that you can actually do about it. And so even as you're standing out as a pre-PT, even as you're saying, well, Casey and Joseph, I understand that success predictors are changing. I understand that's a little different. Cool. Like, what am I supposed to do about it? Like, okay, so what? Yeah, you still have to work on your GPA and all the other things. True, yes. That's still like the on surface stuff. But the things that schools are weighing heavier now are your other skills outside. I spoke with Donette. Donette, if you're still on, feel free to add some comments here. And Donette was telling me, she was like, Joseph, it's crazy because with her low GPA, which is what she had, she was like, this past year when she applied, the programs were looking at all the things that they had really never seen before.
Thank
She
you.
was pulling out stuff left and right that they were like,
Mm-hmm.
who in the world? Like she was like, yeah, I was part of the high level coaching program with pre PT grind. They're like, what's that? What's that? Oh, they're this. Wait, what? Like you
Mm-hmm.
decided that you were so serious about getting into PT school that you invested in yourself? You never heard that before. She talked about how she got herself to Clearwater, Florida, the last weekend of May in 2018, and met with over 250 of the top physical therapists in the US, with one of them who had flown from overseas. And she was like, yeah, that's now my community. So even the conversations she was having when she was having interviews, like, Donette, if you're here, feel free to say that. Like, if y'all have never spoken to Donette, send her a message, show her some love. Be like, hey, Joseph said this crazy thing. Can I ask you some questions about what you did? Ask her, because what she did is her conversations about what she was seeing in physical therapy, a lot of the things that she was seeing other physical therapists struggling with in terms of like finances, what she was seeing other PTs do in terms of like now she's associated with over 400 other entrepreneurs that are in the physical therapy profession, people that have said, yo, listen, I understand that school was worth this much, but you know what? I'm going to make it my life's work to serve a group of people that I am passionate about because I've been taught the skills. But all those skills start way earlier on. All those skills start with what you're doing outside of just doing shadowing hours, outside of just being a PT tech. Honestly, I know 7 people that are doing a pretty darn good job of it right now. They are interns for pre-PT grind. And right now, what they're learning how to kill it in the online game. We got Zanaya, who's out here destroying it with the podcast. We got Sarah, who's killing it with the blogs. I mean, all they're doing is learning skills that they're going to use down the line. Skills that when they put them out in the open, it's like, yo, like we don't see other pre-PTs doing this. Carl Bourne Jr. literally dropped his blog recently and is just like on fire. One of the best writers that I've seen, honestly. If you're a better writer, I'm sorry, I just haven't seen your work yet. But he's the best writer I've seen. And Carl
Mm-hmm.
is a machine. Like you give him a topic, 25 minutes later, he's got a whole 2 pages ready to go because it's just part of him. It's what he loves to do. It's one of his biggest de-stressors. But he has used something that was just like a fun hobby for him, and he said, "Yo, let me master this skill because this is actually going to pay out on the back end." When I'm a physical therapist, when I'm a PT student, because he's going to be a PT student, when I'm doing all these different things, because I'm learning skills that are outside of what other pre-PTs are doing. So if the success predictors for being a physical therapy student, for being accepted into a PT program are changing, those are the same things, the same skills that you can learn, the same tools that you can gain and acquire in order to get to the other side. Those are the same things that will help you win as a physical therapist. Casey and I waited a little later than you. We started learning those skills while we were in PT school. But it's put us in a place where now we have a platform where we can talk to you, where we have a podcast where honestly we're like episode 82 or something like that, and really a
Mm-hmm.
podcast that's right now being featured in the US, in Canada, in Australia, in different parts of the world. And we're like, yo, this would have never happened if we did not take the leap of faith and just learn these skills. Start learning things that other people were not doing. Stop looking over your shoulder left and right. Stop going into the pre-doc page and saying, oh, are people applying? Oh, what else is everybody doing? Oh, I've heard that, shadowing is nice. Like, stop doing the mainstream things. Are they good? Yes. They're good because you're going to learn skills, They're good because you're going to understand how the clinic situation works. You're going to be able to dive into an area of physical therapy that you might want to do in the future. But honestly, is that what's going to help you pay out on the back end? No. And what does that look like? It looks like most PTs who 2 years out, 3 years out end up feeling burnt out because they're trying so hard to just, play this game out of the desperation for money and coin, not understanding that there are certain skills that they could start learning way earlier as pre-PTs that would have helped them set themselves apart. And if you can learn those now, if you're stuck and you're like, yo, what are those? Like, send us a message. Go to contactpreptgrind.com and be like, yo, help me out. Help me figure this out because 2019 is my year. Like we were saying before, we're like the whole I am not my GPA, I am not my GRE, you have to claim that this is your go round. If you're going into this cycle saying, well, let's try it again. Let's give it a shot. I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to raise my hopes too high. So, Casey, I'm going to reapply, but I also have a few backup plans just in case. I do. I have a few backup. Simon, how you doing? I have a few backup plans just in case. If you're doing that, you're already getting in your own way of getting accepted. You're literally like setting yourself up to literally like be a roadblock for yourself. Like y'all ever seen somebody like tripping up the stairs or whatever? Like it's like you doing that on purpose. It's like you literally setting up a roadblock and just running and hoping it's not there anymore. It's like you like finding a rope, tying it from tree to tree, and then closing your eyes and saying, "Let me run and see what happens." You're getting in your own way of getting accepted into PT school. And this year is your year of control. That's what the conversation was about tonight. Control. You have absolute control of your shot at getting in to PT school. All or nothing mentality, Simon. No babies or let's try again. All or freaking nothing. When Casey and I get to the end of 2019, all we want to see inside of the pre-doctor physical therapy students page is I got in, 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 left and right. That's all, literally all of like November, December, January of 2020. That's all I want to see. All I want to see is students get in, get in, get in. But you're not going in as the average. You're going in as a next level pre-PT, a next level soon-to-be physical therapist. Honestly, it flies like that. 3 years goes like that. Casey and I got into PT school and just like that, we're like, yo, man, shoot, now we got our own patients. How the heck did this happen?
Crazy.
That thing happened quick. But that's how this year has to go. These 3 steps, if you missed it, if you're here watching it on replay and you just, just let us know what your questions are below. But once again, control was the answer. And if you weren't here before, I want you to comment control if you feel like, yo, I feel like, I know that this year in 2019, I am ready to do what I need to do to lock myself in. Not because of any excuses, not because of my GRE, not because of my GPA, not because of the negative thoughts that I have right now, because of my surroundings and even the personal ones that I have. Like, regardless of that, I'm claiming that the only shot I have at getting in is to assume control and know that I have to take the right steps as a pre-PT to lock myself into a physical therapy program. Number 2, I also have to understand speed. It's faster with the right people. It's slower by myself. It's also very slow with the wrong people. I don't think I pointed that part out. The wrong people can be a stumbling block like crazy. Shoot, doubting myself only gets worse when other people are helping me doubt myself. You feel me? If I'm doubting myself, it only gets worse if somebody else is like, yeah, I hear you, Joseph. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you should try something else. You're right. Yeah, man. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Mm-hmm. Come on. If you have the wrong people around you, you're still getting in your way. And then number 3, success predictors of being a pre-PT and setting yourself up for acceptance into PT school have changed and are changing. PT programs understand it. You have to understand it. But if you want to give yourself a shot at standing out as a pre-PT, you got to get ahead of it too. So if that's you and you're like, yo, I'm ready to lock in, send us a message right now. Go to contactpreptgrind.com, be like, yo, Casey, Joseph, whichever one of y'all responds first, let's talk. Let's talk. Because I'm tired of guessing. I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted by it. And honestly, even if I have not applied before, I've seen what it's done. And I'm hearing y'all too. I see what it can do, and I'm ready to not take my chances. I'm ready to not miss out on what's on the other. I don't want to put myself through. And if you've been rejected before, like honestly, yes, it's painful. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it sucks. But that's not the end of your story. It wasn't the end of Casey's story. It wasn't the end of Ben Kim's story. It wasn't the end of Darnett's story. It wasn't the end of Ariana's story. It wasn't the end of a lot of other pre-PTs that have come before you. So everything you're feeling right now, other people have felt it, and it's okay. It's okay to feel that, but don't stay there long. Understand that you still have the keys. You still have control. I should have played "I Got the Keys" by DJ Khaled. But anyway, like you still have access. Like you still have absolute control over how this will go. We're just here to help you guide you step by step and show you how to get to the other side. Show you how to realize everything that you already have, the potential you already have, and actually make it a reality. No longer guessing, no longer just like hype talking and be like, oh, now I feel good. I feel like I can do it. No, 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 no. It's saying, I know I can do it because of this. Let's get it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So this is your year. Claim it. Claim 2019 is your year. And this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. So that's it. Casey, you have anything else for the winners before we close it up?
Subscribe to our YouTube, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, listen to our podcast, send your questions in to our podcast. We're going to answer them for you on the podcast and send it out. Download the Anchor app, follow us at Pre-PT Grind, send in your questions. Be like, yo, Casey, Joseph, I'm struggling with this. I heard your live stream the other day. I heard the podcast from 2 weeks ago. And how do I this? What do I this? Whatever it is, send it to us. We'll put it on the podcast. We'll answer it on the podcast, and we'll put it out. So tell your friends, tell everybody about us. Because if you don't, we're going to find them anyway. Like Joseph was talking about, we learn the skills to find your quote-unquote competition anyway. So might as well give to others like we are giving to you. Tag them in all this. Share with all our stuff. And we hope it brings you value. Hope you find it cool. And we know it's going to get you into physical therapy school regardless. So check it out. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Let's get it. And comment cheat sheet below if you want the cheat sheet from tonight's live stream. We're going to create it. We're going to have it to you in the next few hours. Just comment cheat sheet so we know where to find you, how to get a hold of you so that we can make sure that you absolutely destroy this year. 2019 is your year. Claim it, claim it, claim it.